Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse Podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the might of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down here, or standing up, and then doing another episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
Thank you.
We got sound effects, man.
I know.
You hear that?
It's all we can afford. No.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Times are tough. Let's talk about a very real thing, right? Like I mean, we couldn't come up with a catchy name or something that kind of lands right on the money, because it's a broad, somewhat of a broad type of topic, right? And the context is we're doing everything, we're taking the motions, we're doing the work, right, per se, but the results are not coming in. And I'm not talking about like the hammering the nail thing. It's like, when you're in that space of personal growth and you feel like you drafted out your vision, and then you sit in the mornings and you pray or meditate or you visualize and you're doing all these things, right? And if you're in the space or the track of personal growth, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you're doing it all, right? Yet the results are not there. They're not coming. It's easy to get doubtful. It's easy to start questioning whether or not, the efforts that we take on a daily, basis, do they even matter, right?
Yeah.
I found myself on that spot plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, when is this thing gonna click?
What entrepreneur hasn't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a good point, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur or you're betting on yourself somehow in some way, self-doubt is going to come in. Self-doubt is going to kick in, and it's going to try to rock you off of whatever type of balance you're trying to create. So let's dive into that, man.
Yeah, man, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So break it down, all right? So this is a topic that actually you brought up, and I think it's spot on, dude. I have a theory of why that happens, and I'll dive into my side of it, but I want to hear your side of the equation here. Sometimes we get into it, we get into the work, we get into the growth, we hire people, we find meaning or purpose, and we start to pursue it, and do the reps, right? Do the reps. And nothing clicks.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, reps, I mean, just so we're on the same page, like it's repetitive, effective practices. That's what reps stand for, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so repetitive, effective practices, not just taking action and doing random things.
Yeah.
And so this whole predicament of, okay, I'm going through the process, I listen to my coach, and I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not getting the results that I want. Like, that's frustrating, man. And so if you take a look at the dynamic of why is that happening? Like what's the problem here? Like what lever do I pull? What switch do I dial in? And very simply, if you're going through the motions and you're just taking the actions to get a thing, then what happens when you typically get that thing? You stop doing the practice. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people like to take that hustle and grind mentality of like forced obedience.
That, and I think it's often glorified, right?
Yeah.
Like, I grind, I hustle. It's almost like it's a good thing.
Yeah,
like, I
exactly.
think the idea is not to feel the grind and feel the hustle. Like I know for a fact I don't want to feel that throughout my life, right?
No, God, no.
It's a tool. It's a type of behavior that we tap into. It's a type of strength that we tap into.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
there's
cool,
a time
it's
and
hustle.
place.
It's a hustle season.
Yeah.
Fine, I get it. Boom, let's get into it. But the idea is to thrive. The idea is not to be hustling all the time. Like, shit, I don't want to.
No, I think everyone watching, I would assume, wants to earn way more and have bigger, better results in life, yet with less effort.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hustle and grind is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And, it's really just kind of a surface level self-awareness, hustle and grind. But the whole premise of this kind of conversation is people a lot of times will do the things they're told to do because they think that that's the path to get them where they want to go and obtain what they want to achieve. And that may work. It's like a diet, right?
Right.
Okay, so if you're overweight, diet and exercise. Okay, well, you're overweight for a reason. It's because you don't eat well and you don't move your body. It's very simple. And so the forced obedience of diet and exercise is not enjoyable for most people, but it's simply a means to an end. And so people diet, exercise, and they may hit their goal in a short amount of time, a 90-day goal, 6-month goal, a year goal, whatever the case is. But once they hit that goal of that ideal weight, what do? They stop the reps, the repetitive effective practices. They stop the forced obedience, take their foot off the gas, and what happens? If you're watching, you've been on a diet, you probably know. The weight comes back and it brings some of its friends. You know what I mean? And so it's like, obviously, because the behavior that worked to get you where you wanted to go didn't become a part of like who you are. It's not your personality. It was just forced obedience, and you stopped it the minute you hit the goal, and you thought, I don't have to do that anymore. And so instead of looking at things in that way as a means to an end, as forced obedience, it's like, why am I doing this in such a way that's really for my benefit as a new lifestyle, a new personality? And if you do that, it's like a practice of self-love, self-acceptance. Like, and I'm trying not to spoiler alert this, but so this idea actually came up because of a private coaching client this morning that I had. And same situation. He's doing all the things, checking all the boxes, and he's giving it his all. And he still doesn't have some of the results that he wants. Why? And it's like, that's it right there. Like, it's so subtle. It's because you're only doing it to get what you want that you think you don't have. You're only doing it to, say, earn money or to achieve this status or whatever the case is. And once you get it, which I hope you don't, you're just going to revert back. It's almost like the energy of that state of being is, I need this thing so that I can be fulfilled. And the problem with that, I'm going to say this nicely, there's never enough. It's like feeding a hungry ghost. It comes in and just falls right through. It's a bottomless void that cannot be filled.
Remember Casper?
With external.
You remember the Casper, that movie?
I don't think I've ever really saw it, but I understand.
Right,
I know who Casper
is.
It's
a ghost. It's eating, and then all the food is just kind of falling through. Kind of like
exactly.
I had a flashback.
Exactly.
But,
so, like, anytime you have a void on the inside in your personality, in your state of being, it cannot be filled with something external. But everyone chases the external in an attempt to fill it.
And a lot of, like, I feel a lot of times we get confused, right? We're feeling that void, and it'll get misinterpreted by, I don't know, failure at work or lack of dedication or lack of vision, lack of commitment. And in in reality, what's going on is it's something else. It can be a suppressed memory from where you were growing up, some childhood trauma that's still in there. It can be something that's triggering different reactions or emotions in your day-to-day behaviors, right? So, like, without getting into the weeds there, I feel like it's easy to get confused when we're going through emotions, and it's easy to put blame on something, because anytime we put blame on something, that solves the problem, the emotional problem, right? Okay, it's this, whatever this is, it's
not my fault.
It's not my fault.
Yep.
So it removes responsibility. It removes that sense of personal responsibility and personal accountability that we need to have to succeed, right?
Well, and it removes your power to affect change.
Exactly.
So that's the drawback.
Yeah. And finding blame almost becomes like this full-time sport. Like,
for sure.
Okay, cool. No. I mean, I do everything in my power to get stuff done.
It's the market. It's to this a point. Person. It's my honey. Yeah. It's like, it's all bullshit. That's the truth of the
this
matter.
thing was gonna come through, and then it didn't come through, and then the same thing happened with the last 4 or 5 things.
Yeah.
It was like
a pattern.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pattern. You know what I mean? And So it's important to recognize that, right? Because that's the kind of stuff it's gonna yield the results. 2, if we never get out of that rut, that mental rut, it's almost like we're poisoning the good thoughts that we can have.
100%.
And that sense of belief in ourselves never gets nurtured.
Exactly. And so the essence of that whole dynamic of, I have to get this in order to feel successful, fulfilled, worthy, deserving, whatever the case is. Like, it's the energy of, I don't have it and I need it. And it's like a resistance to even having it.
Yeah.
The energy is, I don't have it, so it's lack, scarcity, and that's rooted in fear. Because if I don't get it, what's going to happen to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, so for entrepreneurs with money, right? Well, I have to have operating costs. I got overhead. And then, I need that dirty P word, profit, right? Because that's how I get paid. Yeah, what's that? And so if you need that revenue and you don't have it, it's easy to get scared.
Yeah.
I mean, our mind defaults to negative as it is, right? And so realizing that you can get the money And then the fear is still going to be
there. Let me interject the thought there real quick. And you brought, I mean, you hit something, I mean, it's almost like a side thought here, but I think it's important to make a highlight of it. Our mind reverts to negativity as a default. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it protects us.
Yeah.
It's just neurologically we're wired to survive, right? So we're looking for danger everywhere. As we developed as human species, like we had to figure out how to live when there were, saber-toothed tigers running around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay, so what we were looking for at that time, we were looking for danger,
threats.
So understand this: the fact that you're seeing things as dangerous, and you're going through life as an entrepreneur, you're building and whatnot, and you're seeing problems, and you're seeing issues and stuff that that's going to be it's almost like the paved pathway that we already have in our brains.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean that we can't deviate from that and actually look at something as or begin with a positive thought in mind. So, anyways, that's that. Yeah. It's a natural trigger to think that way. It doesn't mean that we can't change it.
100%. So, like, I think all of us know someone that person, no matter what conversation you're having with them, there's always something negative, like something happened to them. Right? Yeah. There's never enough money. The car is breaking down. Like there's always
they got a problem for every solution.
Yeah, there's like this black cloud over them, right? And every time you talk to them, there's a new something that happened to them, right? Like they're a victim. I think we all know someone like that, a family member, whatever. And it's like what people are missing that's hiding in plain sight is look at how successful they are at creating that reality.
Yeah,
100%. In fact, they don't even have to think about it. It just happens. Right?
Yeah.
And so nobody wants to take ownership and responsibility over the negative results that they have.
Yeah.
Yet that's where like your salvation lies. That's where if you know how to look at it, that's where your sovereignty lies. Because when you take a look at, okay, all the negative results, all the things that I don't have in my life, I'm successfully creating that. It's like, it's intentional. It's by design. It's just because I practiced it so much that I'm no longer consciously aware of that I'm doing it. It just happens. Because our brain, you know this, that organ, it uses more energy from the body than all the other organs combined.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like thought takes a lot of energy. And so the brain, it's smart, it's wired for survival. And if it notices patterns and themes, it's going to like memorize those and know how to do them without your conscious involvement to conserve energy.
Yeah.
Like it's a very intelligent organ. And so if people can take a look at that and say, okay, my results suck. I don't have what I want. I'm overweight. I'm broke. I'm whatever, single, yada, 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 yada. The list goes on and on and on. But look at how successful I am, but those results and how they fit, how I think and feel about myself.
Yeah.
And if you were to become aware of that and take ownership of it, now the law of polarity, duality, comes into play. So if I'm successful at creating that must mean then by default, I'm capable of creating its opposite on the other end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Called abundance, prosperity, wealth, and I don't mean just financially. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
If you practice a thing over and over and over, pretty soon you're going to have muscle memory and you're going to have the hardwired neurological connections in your brain that it just happens without your conscious involvement.
One thing that happened to me a while back, because I intentionally got into that space, right, of thinking, and I wanted to intentionally rewire the way that I processed information.
Smart.
I grew up in an environment where we see problems first. We see what's lacking first. We see that was just my nurture.
Ditto.
The nature around. Yeah. So I got to a point where it was like, okay, I feel like I can change the way I think. If I feel like my reactionary thinking per se, right?
Yeah.
That's where when the whole the word awareness came, it actually started taking it took a big part of my life. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Awareness, isn't that crazy? Like when
you're
aware of the way that you think, what's creating your thoughts, right? So I intentionally started thinking and recognizing more than anything else, recognizing this stuff. Like, man, I don't want to. If I meet somebody, I don't want to get off on the the wrong foot just because I have a stigma or because I feel like no, there's always good ways to approach any given situation if we do it consciously. So yes. If we walk into it with a state of mind of this can be positive, right? And it's not you don't have to be the person that's walking around with a rainbow up their ass and
not delusional.
Yeah, exactly.
You can still be
right?
real.
But we can see life in a whole different light than it's happening to me and then I have the problem, I have this, I have if we're looking for that first take, That's what we're gonna get all the time. Now, something really interesting happened when I started shifting, and my thoughts that way intentionally, right? So the first thing would still be like I don't know, I can't. Not that I trust blindly, right? But it's like, this is not gonna work, or this is like, that would be like my default thinking. And then I would stop myself right there, and then just shift it. Like,
it's just a choice.
Give me 10 reasons why it would work, and like, what if it does? What if it actually does work, right? And I would start getting excited about that. I don't know, maybe call it 6 months or something of just me putting myself in that train of thought intentionally. Now I see things, and the first thing that I see is like, awesome.
The opportunity.
Like, I don't even question if it's gonna work. I see it as I get excited because like, man, when that happens, when it pans out, when it works. And the cool thing that it allowed me to do is run. I mean, a lot of times we're running on faith, man.
100%.
We're running on faith and prayer, and it's hard to believe it. Hold on, this is like the big point that I want to make. It's hard to get to a point where you believe it in your heart, where your energy is there. And it's not just because you wrote it somewhere and it became a mechanical thing. Energetically, you're lined up to it. It takes a minute to shift, right? The way that we process info or internal beliefs onto a place or to a track that gets us thinking that way.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking like, I'm not that positive type of person. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, totally. Well, so I'm doing this interview, and the guy said, how do you handle risk as an entrepreneur? And I'm like, what do you mean, what risk?
Yeah.
It's like, well, things happen and market volatility and da-da-da. I'm like, those are just circumstances and situations. Like, at the end of the day, you can look at taking action as a risk because you might lose. But if you can focus on that, on what's negative, that means you can focus on its opposite. Like, what's the opportunity? What do I got to gain? Like, it's just a different way of looking at things. And just because we're naturally hardwired to default to negativity and look at what you could lose, like, that's no fucking excuse, man. Yeah. It's still a choice to think about, why would I want to do this? Like you said, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much opportunity. I don't care what the market's doing. In fact, if things get abruptly disturbed in the market and things radically change, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because while people are losing their minds, I'm looking at the opportunity. Because there's still people that need to be served.
And if you don't know how to get excited about change, look at the people that are getting excited when things happening. Then see what they do.
Yeah. But change is the only constant, man. Yeah. Like you've got to be excited about adapting to that and ever changing, because it's evolution. It's innovative. It's exciting. It's fun. It's stimulating. Yeah. Or you can look at it as, I'm scared, and bail out. But like, what the hell is the benefit in that?
Yeah. It's now, going back to it, I think it comes down to our ability to believe, right? Conceptually, we can create this idea, we can visualize, we can do a board, we can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it fosters that.
Yeah, exactly. So those are tools for belief, per se. But our ability to believe is really what creates the magic behind the stuff that we're intending to do. Now we have to put ourselves in alignment with that. Our energy has to be in alignment with that. Sometimes going through for example, right? Like if you want to get fit, we'll go back to that example. If you want to, I don't know, like do diet, you have to take the reps even when you don't feel like it. And I think it's like one of the most cliche examples in the world, right? Like, yeah, if you don't feel like going to the gym, still go to the gym. Like, you're gonna feel a lot better when you walk out. But that shit's true.
You don't feel like going to the gym, so you're at the gym and you're doing the thing.
Yeah, and like maybe 2-3 sets into it. Like that was me this morning, 5 a.m. I was like, I was comatose right there, like on the bench. But then I got into it, right? It was like, all right, this feels really good.
You're so happy you did it.
Yeah, and then I did something different this morning. So I went back home after I wrapped up my gym, and I killed it. I did really good. Like I woke up, right? And I went back home and I was, doing my coffee and everything. I was like, I'm going to chill on the couch for a little bit. I still got a bunch of time. So I was like, all right, cool. I did my thing. And instead of journaling, which is something that I do on a regular basis, like just lay down and I took a little nap.
Really?
Yeah, I took a little nap. This is after I got back from the gym this morning.
Damn,
totally different. All right. And it's like at that time it was like, I don't know, 6:30 or something. And I'm done with my gym. And I'm done with like the big frog, right? That was kind of in the way that I didn't feel like doing. And then I woke up from that nap and I felt like I slept 2 nights, dude. It was like, like so. Anyways, that's
Is
a
that a new
tangent.
practice?
I like that a lot. It's all I'm gonna say. So, like I woke up, it was like shit, man. It's like my workout didn't even count because I feel so good. So, anyways, so
you get better sleep because of it.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's putting ourselves in alignment, right? A lot of times is going through those motions when we're doing the work and we feel like, okay, the work is not working. It's like, what do I do? It's gonna be a time thing. It's gonna be a belief thing. We have to give things enough time for them to manifest.
It's the law of gestation. Things take time to incubate. I mean, it takes a human 9 months, right?
Yeah.
From conception to birth. Like, come on, man. 9 months. It takes some time. You don't go plant a seed, water it, and then come out the next day and be like, where's my vegetable? Like, no, it's got to sprout, and you don't see anything happening while the root is going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it needs a foundation. But the thing about belief is, this is my opinion anyways.
Yeah.
Belief is something you cultivate, you generate it, right? Whatever your practice or strategy is, there's infinite ones you could take. You know, we do meditation, visualization, gratitude, a vision board, things of that nature. But through that process and that practice, what you're doing is you're like fortifying your faith. And when that faith becomes a conviction, now it's just an expectation. Of course that's going to happen. Obviously. It ain't here yet, but I don't care because we're going to get into that. Like, I know it's on its way. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you sit down, the waiter or waitress comes over and they say, what can I get you? And you place your order. Well, when they leave with your order, are you like, hey, I wonder if they're going to come back with food eventually? Yeah. No, that'd be weird. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you trust that it's on its way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's those rare occasions, but that's extremely rare. You know when you place your order, it's on its way. So how do you place the order? And what do you do in the meantime while it's cooking? That's really the key. And so we have some best practices for you.
Yeah. The okay, this is also something that going through the thought of like, shit, this thing's not working. Mm-hmm. I've found myself correcting the path that I thought I wanted to take.
Oh yeah, because your strategy is the solution.
Yeah, it's like I have conviction, I have belief, I have
the perfect
everything,
plan.
I have the perfect plan.
Yeah, what the hell do you know?
But it sucks, man.
It's still not here yet.
It looks so great. It looks so
good
great
on paper.
Yeah, it looks good. And I'm thinking like, man, this thing is failing. And like the I guess one example that I can give, it's not. I mean, dude, it's a week old. So it's
should be here by now.
Yeah, going through, and this is business related, but I mean, going through some campaigns, right? We're going, doing marketing and doing all kinds of stuff, and for real estate deals and investments, and we're going through things, and then the lead count started dropping in one of the campaigns. And man, I started like getting antsy about it. Like, okay, this is, there's certain areas that we have to come in and fine tune in the business and whatnot, and those are getting improved. But that lead campaign is like it's dropping.
Why did you get antsy about it?
Because I mean, we were used to having this cadence, this volume, mm-hmm. and then it dropped. Right mm-hmm. Now the volume and leads. So I was looking at the wrong thing. The volume and leads. So here's what I think
it's important for people to understand the dynamic.
So we have multiple campaigns that are going, and they, each campaign gives us leads to talk to, and then we get deals and close those. So if we had a cadence, we have a set amount, like an average amount of mm-hmm. leads that we would get, and then one of those campaigns started just crapping out, right? Yeah. So it started going down, and then the lead count started going down, and I started getting anxious, like, man, that campaign is not working. So that forced me to look at other things, right? And I started scrambling, and I got a little frustrated at first, and I looked at other angles, started fine-tuning the business in a couple of different areas, and just optimizing stuff where I could optimize, like until I figured that out and whatnot, right? So it put me in motion in a different aspect, right? It's like, you want to get your relationships better, but you haven't worked on yourself. You work on yourself, and then your relationships get better. So it's kind of like the same thing.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. So I'm going through this, right? And I was like, man. And I look at the. I ended up looking at the revenue per campaign, and that campaign that we were working from was giving us about 80-20. I mean, Pareto principle, crazy. Yeah. About 80% of the workload, but 20% of the results. Mm. So this is real. I have the numbers to back it up. So it's like, man, we were doing a shit ton of work with this campaign, mm-hmm. yet the revenue was coming in from some of the other campaigns that are a lot easier to work with. We have less leads, but they're way more profitable. And it's like, man, it's so the point I'm trying to make is I thought it wasn't working, mm-hmm. right? And I got into this space like, man, we're doing everything right. We're taking the motions, the actions, and everything. and I look at it, and it's like I'm looking at the wrong thing to measure whether or not the stuff or my actions are working.
Oh, so your mind had an expectation that wasn't being met by the reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
100%.
negativity sets in.
So when we feel like if you feel like things are not panning out, they're not working, take a second look. I mean, am I gauging the right stuff, right? Is am I looking at this overall purpose or overall conjunction of things that makes sense in the end, or is it just noise around us? Because it's easy to get lost in the noise.
Yeah.
It's easy to put ourselves down because of the noise that's around us.
Well, not only that, but I mean, one thing I got to commend you on, and it's been an inspiration truly, is your KPIs, man. Like most entrepreneurs don't track their shit. They don't even know where they're at, and they're throwing darts in the dark. So when you track your progress and what's working, what's not working, those ratios and the dollars and cents and all that going into it, you can see things way more accurately for what they truly are. So you're objective, instead of if you're paying for leads and all of a sudden the lead flow goes down and they're less quality and you're spending a lot of money, people freak out.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so unnecessary.
You can't pinpoint the problem.
Yeah, you don't even know what the problem is, so you just shut it down and quit. It's like, no, wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the bottom line essence of, I'm doing the things, I'm paying for the marketing, I'm getting the leads, I'm making the calls, I'm doing all the things, I got a morning practice, and the results that I truly desire still aren't here yet.
Yeah.
You're the problem. Because you're doing the things.
What's the common denominator?
Yeah, right? Might be you. Thank God for that too. And I mean that sincerely. Like, if it's not you, if it's not you, you're fucked. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it. You're powerless.
Yeah.
But when it's you, you have the choice to make a change and adjust the personality, adjust the bias lens, and become objective.
That is one of the
strongest
statements, I think. Like, if it's not you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because you're powerless. Like, understand that everything we do, like, at the end of it, it's us, right? It's our responsibility. It's our fault. If it's good, it's our fault. If it's bad, it's our fault. Owning it, right, is our fault too.
Well,
like,
if
it
you
really
don't
comes down
own
to
it,
us.
then you can't learn the lesson. And if you don't learn the lesson, it'll be repeated until you do. And that's just a simple fact. And so thank God it's me. Thank God I made a mistake, because I'm going to learn something from that. I'm going to be better resourced. I'm going to be of more value to the marketplace because of my experience, knowledge, and expertise. Like, thank you. I'm glad I made that mistake. And a lot of times knowing what not to do is far more valuable than knowing what to do. Yeah. Because there's infinite ways to win.
So
but look out for the pitfalls.
So let's talk about energetic alignment.
Yeah.
With all these things.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. We kind of went into this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's all relevant though.
100%.
It's but energetically, right? Like there's certain ways that you can get yourself in alignment with the type of energy that you wanna tap into.
Yeah, I wanna tee this next part up by saying this. So it's the law of reversibility, and what it says is basically water can turn into steam, and steam can turn back into water, right?
Yeah.
Well, when water turns into steam, it's still the same thing. It's just vibrating at a different frequency. Well, thoughts are just that. It's an electronic pulse of energy. It has a frequency, and frequencies carry energy. So if a circumstance, something out there, a win happens for you, and then it causes a feeling, something good, and you're excited, empowered, and like, yay, I'm winning. Okay, so a circumstance can cause a feeling. Well, then you'd have to agree then a feeling can cause a circumstance.
Yeah.
Boom, right there. Yeah? Okay, so the way that I think, when I have emotion behind those thoughts, it charges that frequency of the thought. And so emotions are just that, energy in motion, emotion. And so the emotional charge of a thought has a lot to do with what happens with that thought.
Yeah. And
so again, am I looking at the negative? Am I looking at what can go wrong? And then I produce it and it's not my fault? But then, I'll claim all the wins. Like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're powerful sometimes, but chances are your wins aren't really that big and they're not fulfilling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a big part of it, right? So to change the energy, we have to change the way that we feel, the way that we're perceiving, the our actions and the world around us, our results even,
Yeah.
right? Tracking our wins is one of them. I talk about that stuff all the time. Like, we got to stack the wins. We got to call it for what it is. If you went to bed, you did inventory of the day in your mind. It's like, man, how did I win? Like, shit, man. Sometimes I win 15, 20 days a day, 20 times a day.
Yeah. No matter how seemingly insignificant, a win is a win.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be a compliment. It can be a comment. It can be a deal. It can be, and
well, yeah. So let's define what a win is, because I think a lot of people only take a look at a win that's something external. And to me, that's bullshit, and it's useless, because if a win is something that's outside of you, that you didn't control,
that's lazy tracking.
Well, yeah, not only that, but again, like for me, a win is I gave myself a command and I followed it. I set a plan of intention, of action that I'm going to do, unattached to the outcome, and I'm moving forward. Did I do it? Yes, I won. Yeah. Because I can control me. I can control how I think, how I feel, and how I behave. That's it. Yeah. Everything else is just I influence it. So my goals, how I win, are things that I can control, because I can control me. Did I do a good job today? Yeah.
I'm gonna add something to that. So for example, the stuff that I and I don't know if it's positive stuff, right? Like, I don't necessarily look for just the positive stuff. Sometimes, something bad happened, but it hit me in a certain way that just gonna change my perspective on something else, and I feel like there was a click in the way that I think. Right, that's a win. One of the wins that, like, it's I can think of right now, for example, is like, I have 3 principles that I use with my team, right? Radical transparency, extreme ownership, and people over profits. So it's simple. It's a simple way to operate, right? But when we operate under those premises, which I drive through the company, like, everything pans out well. It's just behaviors.
Yeah, I told you I stole those, right?
They're
so phenomenal. I love them.
And that's a win. I'm gonna call that a win today.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was hearing one of my guys negotiate a deal, and then the question was asked, like, what happened? Like, what didn't you shift it this way? And he goes, like, just on cue, like, that is like, because of people over profits. Like, that to me was like, it was low key, and if you missed it, like, if you weren't paying attention, you would have missed the statement. But that to me was huge. You know what I mean? That's a win. The way that we we operate, the way that we impact the world around us, it's a win. Like, do not forget to acknowledge that kind of stuff. We get honed in on the dollar figure. We get honed in on just focusing on the tangibles, right? Like, and we think those are the wins. Like, no, those are the obvious, the lazy ones, right? Yeah. But if you look at yourself, if you take a real look, within you, you're gonna realize there's a lot more winning going on. When you realize and recognize the winning that's happening around you, your emotional state changes. Yeah, your belief changes, gets stronger.
Your ability to regulate your emotions is a win. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, that's huge what you just said too. By the way, the self-awareness. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's the biggest win, because you're gonna take that forward and be different because of it. That's huge. Yeah. So, okay. So, what we're going to talk about next. So, if you're watching, don't just listen. You got to do this. And it's real simple. Go grab a dry erase marker and go to your bathroom. Step 1. No, really. These are some principles that I forget even where I heard them, learned them, whatever. But I did just that. For me, if I want to memorize something, I want to practice it, I want to rehearse it, I put it on my bathroom mirror, man. Because how many times a day do you see that?
You see it all the time.
Yeah, you just do. And I don't even work from home. But
you know what it does too? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm embarrassed to write stuff that I want. It's well, not anymore. But I used to be like, oh no, like, it feels embarrassing to write something out.
Someone's gonna see it.
It feels too embarrassing.
My housekeeper's gonna know.
And I don't know if it's just me, but it's something really stupid, right? Now I see it that way. And when you put it out there, like, anybody who walks into your bathroom is gonna be reading that stuff. So it's just like, okay, cool, it's there, it's me. Like, you like it or you don't.
Well, it's demonstrated by example too, right? Yeah. So I wrote these 3 things in a color, and then their little subtitles in another color, so I could just, the colors tend to evoke emotions and things of that nature. So number 1, non-resistance. What the hell does that mean? Just that. Like, as I'm going through my day, there's got to be something that unfolds, reality, someone says something, whatever, and I'm going to get activated, right? Yeah. Okay. So I want to remind myself to not be in resistance to that. Why? What's the power in that? What's so, incredible about that awareness? It's everything. Because if you're not in resistance, then what are you?
Yeah.
You're at a state of peace. You have inner peace. It's quiet. You're objective. You're present in that moment. When you're resistant, it's because something got activated, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're totally full of solutions and contributing to the situation? No. You're part of the problem now.
Yeah.
And what you resist persists. And you know that's true because when you're in resistance to something, it becomes the object of your attention. It sucks in your attention and you're focusing on it, yeah? Well, energy flows where attention goes. So if I'm investing my energy on what I don't want and I'm focused on it, I'm just going to get more of it.
The secret 101 right there.
Boom.
Yeah.
So it's law of vibration. Like attracts like.
Yeah.
So underneath the non-resistance, right, inner peace, because that's what I'm after. To just remind myself, right? I've since don't have these in my bathroom mirror because it just became part of my personality. Number 2, non-judgment.
Yeah.
Think about it. When's the last time you judged something and you felt good about it? Now, I don't care. And by the way, below that, right, good, bad, right, wrong. Doesn't matter. Like, why are you labeling things?
Yeah.
When you put a label on a thing, you compartmentalize it, you cause separation, and the mind only does 2 things. It thinks about what it wants and how to get it, what it doesn't want and how to avoid it.
Yeah.
And if your mind is running the show and you've got a back seat, you're in fucking trouble.
Especially if it's being ran by survival.
Which is what it does.
Yeah.
But here's the cool thing. I want to circle back real quick to something you said. The brain, it's just an organ, yeah? Now, the activity of the brain we call mind, thought, yes? But did you know that your level of mind can reshape the brain and its functionality, how it works? It's called neuroplasticity. You know this, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. You're born with a brain and you have thought. And your elevated thoughts can rewire the structure of the brain, causing a new level of mind. Look at that. I don't know about you, but like if that landed, holy shit, that's everything. Do you know what I'm saying? It's you.
Basically, what it sums up is you have the ability to rewire the way you think, rewire the way that you see the world, rewire the way that you process stuff.
Yeah.
And when we have the ability to reshape the way that our inner world operates, what it looks like, what it sounds like, what we expect, right?
Changes with it.
Yeah, the outside changes along with it. So it's, it's a very powerful principle for manifestation. And at the end of the day, like
Crucial.
understanding that it's totally possible. Sometimes we'll go through the motions, again, going through the motions and doing the work and doing this and doing that and everything. But the belief is not there. Yep. It's because we're not cultivating that side of it.
No, there's a need for that thing, which means there's a fear that it won't happen. There's doubt.
Right.
And so the energy behind the thought is, I might not get it. So I don't care how much you do and what your practice is and how often you do it. It ain't going to happen. Yeah. Because there's no belief and conviction and expectation that it's going to show.
That is so true, man. I'm gonna like one thing that I've always thought I've had this superpower of figuring shit out. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like I'm gonna figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I would always figure things out, and I would just kind of end right above the survival line because I figured it out. And I figured it out again. I was like, be in a tight spot, and then I figured it out, and I'd be like, just my head out of water, right?
Yeah,
Figuring breathing. Shit out all the time, barely breathing because I was figuring that out. But I was figuring out how to survive for the longest time. Yeah. Just figure, okay, cool, I'm in a tight spot, and I figured it out. And like I had this irrational belief that it would, that I can figure things out. And then it hit me. I was like, man, like I'm always figuring stuff out, and I haven't died because I'm figuring it out. But what if I pivot on that? What if I shift my mind from figuring stuff out and learning how to survive all the time, just kind of like head out of water, to thriving? What if I turn that into my superpower? What if I turn that into my X factor, right?
And real quick,
and rewire my brain to that.
So in order to rewire the brain, new neurons have to fire in new sequences. Neurons that fire together consistently, repetitively, wire together. And so that's how you develop the habit. Yeah, you had to first have the thought, the awareness. Let me become aware of what I've been unaware of that's been running without my involvement, right? Oh, I see it now. Great. Think a new thought, keep firing that until it's hardwired.
Yeah, so I mean, and I think it's something that's not that, far-fetched, right? To think or to understand that that as entrepreneurs, we're running around trying to figure shit out, and then we feel good when we put our head just above water, and then we get underwater again because that's what we do.
I don't mind it.
and then figure it out and come back up. Yet, in our expectations or whatever, we have this master plan written out, but our belief is still caught in that state, right? So it's almost like we want this, but we're stuck on the wiring for this.
Well, no,
right? We have to break that belief
to make the situation worse.
Yeah.
Not are we wired for that, but we have a plan of how it's going to unfold.
Yeah.
And it never does unfold like that. Like, what the hell do you know?
Yeah.
And why do you care if it doesn't unfold the way you thought it was going to unfold, so long as it actually does?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you get your result, do you really care how it came, so long as it's legal, moral, ethical, right? And you can be in clean emotionally with how you generated it, like, and be proud about it. Awesome. But it didn't show up the way that you thought it was going to. I did this action, and the reaction, the result I wanted, didn't come from it. But I still got it. It happened because of something over here. Because I put it out there.
Yeah.
But it came
we
back
see that a lot.
differently.
We see that a lot in collaboration. So, you have business that comes back to you through collaboration. You have, connections, you have people, and I mean, it's interesting, right? It's all connected. At the end of the day, it's all connected. Like energy wise, it's all playing in the same ether. It's all playing in the same field. We just feel we have this fucking stupid, I think notion that we have full control over everything that's happening. And the better that we plan it out, the better that it's going to turn out. And like the more control I have, like
it's perfect plan.
Yeah, exactly. No, we can have, some type of direction, I feel, right?
Sure. That's an intention.
But be open to the fact that things pan out and they change as we're going through the actions, through the motions. If we're fixated on that one thing, on that one path that we crafted, but we don't come up to
blinders on.
Yeah, exactly, with blinders on, and ask ourselves the questions like, oh shit, okay, I was planning for that, but does this work? Does it help me? I mean, is it putting me a step forward in the direction where I want to get to? Like overall, looking at the grand scheme of things, is this a good thing or a bad thing, right? As opposed to staying on that micro space where we're like, no, this is the next thing. This is the next thing because that's how I planned it out. I'm telling you, man. Like if the awareness wasn't there, I know I would be a lot further behind.
Oh yeah.
On stuff, and I would not. I wouldn't be able to recognize some of the beautiful things that come at me as gifts, which, like, it's because of that energetic space that, through awareness and intention, like it's really what I try to live at.
Yeah.
Not that I'm there all the time. I mean, I get funky on a regular basis.
Sure, of course.
But you gotta have a way of putting yourself back on track. I mean, it's actually what I want to talk about right now.
Well, that's the third item.
Yeah.
This is the hardest one for people, by the way. It really is, which is funny to me. So, do you want to say it?
No, break it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the third one is non-attachment. And below that, you can write impermanence. And so I thought about that for a long time and contemplated it. Non-attachment. Okay, so attachment to a thing is a need, right? It's rooted in scarcity, fear. Yeah. And if I don't have it, then what's going to happen? Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to make a quantum surge, a leap in results, or make a massive pivot in your marketplace and go down a different rabbit hole, whatever the case is, like, can you sit with the worst case scenario happening? You lose it all, it's completely gone. And sit with that until you can get to a point where you can accept it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is he talking about? No, it's really, because if you don't do that, that means then there's still that shred of doubt and fear, and you have your plan of how it's going to all work out. And when it doesn't work out and you're grinding and putting all this energy, attention, time, money, effort, and you don't get the result you want in the time frame that you thought it was going to come, which never does, like, you're going to go to doubt. And that doubt leads to that fear.
Yeah.
And so if you still got fear and energy on a potential reality, you better neutralize that shit. And I'm telling you, when you can accept ultimate failure, like you lose it all, and I'm okay with that, like I'm sleeping on a buddy's couch and I got a bicycle and the clothes on my back. Cool. Yeah. I mean, you're the creator anyways. So if you can accept that and you're not attached to the outcome, here's the power in that. Now, whatever you do to move forward, it's simply because you can. It's fun. It's play. So let's, like, if you're not having fun in what you're doing and you're only doing a thing to get money, like, good luck, man. That's why people die of heart attack, stroke, cancer.
Well, that, and then I mean, fear is attached to all those actions. A lot, it's fear of loss, fear of scarcity, fear of
doing the wrong
fear
thing,
of rejection. Like it's all attached to that kind of stuff, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. Like it can be, from relationships. It can be fear of failure,
everywhere,
it can be fear of success.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, it's a very strong emotion that anchors the results.
Yeah, because it's survival.
Yeah,
that fear.
Exactly. So
I mean,
we're trying to thrive. We're trying to live this. Like how many times do you hear it a day? Like, living my, the best life. We try living the best life under fear. Let me know how that goes.
You know what? People say that I'm living my best life typically when they're in their shit.
Yeah.
They're like it's like a funny throwaway comment.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, if you're not living your best life, regardless of what you have and possess, like you've misread the instructions.
Yeah.
100%. So. After I heard that concept, I was watching this, documentary or something, and there was like these Tibetan monks way up in the hill in the middle of nowhere. Nobody ever goes there, right? Some film crew went up there, and they've got like these piles of colored sand, and they grab a handful and they let it like fall out of their hand, and they're painting this incredible mural and patterns and like fractal patterns, and just incredible. It must have taken weeks to make this by hand. And as soon as they get done, they look at it, wipe it. And people are like, oh, why'd you do that? And like, why would I hang on to it? Yeah. Like, I'm just going to make another one. And so is it with all results in your life. You just make more.
Yeah.
Like, people want money because of a sense of security. Well, what happens if that money's wiped away?
Yeah.
Now you're insecure? Who created it? Who put it in the account? Like, you can do it again. Yeah. You're the sense of security. Why are you so attached to things? Now, all that being said, I can proudly say that I'm not attached to nearly anything except for two things in my life.
I'm pretty attached to tacos.
Huh?
I'm pretty attached to tacos.
Yeah, that's number one. No. There's two things in my life that I'm still attached to, and I don't know how I would cope or manage or regulate myself if I lost those. So I'm not saying that I've arrived or I'm some guru, because that I am not. But my kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Short of that.
Yeah. My kids and tacos and my wife. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, now, money, houses, real estate, people. Yeah. I mean, you're going to die. Why so attached?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, when you die, you leave this meat suit and you're just energy again.
Yeah.
You're not taking anything with you. What does it really matter?
Yeah, it sounds like a simple concept, right? Non-attachment, but it's deeper than I mean,
it's simple. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting into a little bit of the pragmatic before we wrap it up. So it's important to understand, right, that non-attachment to an outcome is actually, it allows you to operate from a free standpoint. Without the fear, without all the anchors that we can have behind those emotions. Now, when we're not in the mood, and we haven't been 10, 15, 20 years in the personal growth space, like what are some like pragmatic stuff that we can actually do and to shift that energy? At the end of the day, think about energy and that magnet of the stuff that you want to gravitate towards you as how you're feeling. If you're feeling joyful, if you're smiling, if you're like that's why, I don't know, angry people get mad at happy people all the time, because they're always happy. Why are they happy? Because they have good stuff happening to them. Why? Because they're happy. The angry people are always angry because they're angry, and then angry stuff is happening to them because they're angry.
I wanna put something in there. So people are always looking to get a thing to be happy, and it's like,
just be happy.
Yeah, it's like. Well, I think it was Dalai Lama or Gandhi. I don't know. Yeah. Someone was like, how does it go? It's not the way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
Happiness is the way.
You know what I mean? It's like, it just is.
Yeah.
And what do you need in order to be happy? If you think about it, like if you got two eyeballs and you can hear this podcast or watch this video, like you can be happy. If you got you
can put a smile on your
limbs
face.
And you can walk and talk, and what's there not to be happy about? Like in this moment right now.
And believe it or not, but that's a first step, right? To that energetic attraction towards the thing or the life or the space of the people that you want around you. Now, here's a couple of things that I do when I'm feeling like, because I get on a funk on a regular basis. Like we have issues, we have problems. Like, okay, cool. Like I'm not feeling it today. I track my wins. That's number one. So one of the things, like, I go back and I do inventory of like all the wins that I've had today, and like I'm telling you, I have dozens of wins on a daily basis, and they're the little ones, right? But the ones like it's really cool to go back and just take inventory.
Yeah.
The second thing is I change my environment. If I'm in a place that doesn't allow me if you're in a dark, gloomy environment, in a dark room, and it's all muggy, and you're there and you're pounding the phones, and you want to feel happy and joyful from a dark, scary place. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, that to me is common sense. Just like go out for a walk, right? Get hit by some sun. Change your environment. I can do everything I do from the office. I can do it from home, right?
Absolutely.
But it's a different energy. People walk in here. There's a different energy. There's to the space, right? Yep. So it's not about the location or the professional, office space, or it's about the energy behind it.
Yeah.
So put yourself in an environment. Right, whatever that is. I mean, some people do great in coffee shops. Some people can't handle coffee shops. Whatever makes you happy, whatever gives you that joyful peace of mind, and puts you on your seek and destroy mode per se. If you're at work, right? But that's a simple shift. It's something that all you have to do is put some shoes on and maybe clothes.
You know what's the best way to shift your state if you're in a really bad, depressed, negative state? There's a guaranteed way, no matter who you are. Outward focused, meaning like go do something nice for someone else, and preferably a complete stranger. Like, gentlemen, go to any grocery store, get a dozen roses, sit outside the store, and every female that walks by, I don't care if they're 90, 45, doesn't matter, give them a rose. Watch the smiles. Like, you never know. Somebody that's walking by you give a rose to, that person might have been thinking about killing themselves later in the day. And that one little simple random act of kindness could change everything. You're putting it out there, and it sets up a ripple effect, and what you put out comes back. Like, go make someone smile. Give someone a compliment, a genuine compliment. Like, it could be anything and cost nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you're broke and depressed. Like, go out there, make somebody smile. That outward focus, a random act of kindness. Tell me you feel like shit after that.
You're spreading the joy. Move. Don't be stagnant. Just go, move. You had this thing that I thought was so stupid for so many years. Like, I work out 12 minutes a day. Like,
7 to 15.
Yeah. So this is Justin. This is a true story. If you don't know that about Justin, but he used to be twice the man he is now.
In a mass kind of way.
Yeah. So and then he started working out. What was it, 12 minutes a day or something like that?
7 to 15, man. Whatever my mood was.
7 to 15 minutes a day. He kept it consistent and everything. But I kid you not, and I've told you this before. I don't know if on the podcast or not, but your energy changed, your demeanor just was different, right? Everything. Like you have I don't know, like we keep the blood pumping. We have more oxygen to the brain. It's just biology.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like it's. Anytime we do that or we move, we create something that's feels like an accomplishment. Dopamine levels rise and we feel better, right? It's an automatic way of shifting your state of beingness.
Real quick on that, I'm glad you brought it up. So with everything we just talked about in this episode, right? The non-resistance, non-judgment, non-attachment. Fundamentally, the reason I was able to go do that every single morning, 7 to 15 minutes, like, don't tell me you don't have fucking time, you're full of shit, right? Everyone's got 7 to 15 minutes. But it wasn't forced obedience, because what I did was I sat with gratitude and in my visualization and thought about what would that look like on me. Like I'd always been heavy, right? I didn't know what 199 pounds would look like. And so slowly but surely, I started falling in love with myself, like not a conceit, but a genuine just respect and honor for me. And so what would be a demonstration of that? Because that's what love is. It's an act, right?
Yeah.
So me moving my body showed me that I loved my body. It's honoring it. It's respecting it. It's loving on it, right? So I got to go do the workout. I didn't have to. I wanted to. So that's about shifting that self-image. It naturally drives new behaviors that are in alignment with who you desire to be. And when you change that personality, you change your personal reality.
Well, it puts you in that energetic state again, right?
And so it's hard to be depressed when you work out.
Yeah, it is. It is. For me, music works. And this is stuff that I do. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's not that, it's stuff that works whenever I need to just change my mood. Music works wonderful for me.
Shake that ass.
Yeah. Start twerking, bro.
Oh God. Nobody wants to see that. Well, maybe some people, but I don't. Please don't.
I could probably get paid. I don't know, make a lot of money showing my
Moving
toes.
on.
Showing my toes. I thought about a toe account on
dude.
yeah. Anyways, I'm an entrepreneur. What do you want me to do?
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I ain't
so,
mad at you.
So no, but it's like music, right? Like happy music, or just, you know, grabbing the guitar and playing for a little bit. I mean, it just takes me to a whole other place. Find out what that is for you, right? If you have nothing as a creative outlet, I don't care if you're the most analytical person. There's some in the world. There's something that's gonna be an outlet for you, and it's gonna get you thinking outside of your headspace. Something that just puts you out there and disconnects. A lot of times, what happens, you know, because we're in a funk, or our energy is not in alignment, right, with the actions and the people, the person that we want to become, is because we're not in the mood at that moment. So it's an intentional shift of that mood, and we can play with that. It's interesting, but we can be super sad and whatnot. But then, you know, somebody comes over and you have a great conversation over the phone with somebody who you care for, who you love, and whatnot. Like I mean, how many times have you gotten a phone call and it was like, oh, that put me in a really good mood, right? The same way that it works for the counter. I mean, we can create that intentionally. So on a daily basis, right? It's understand that we have hard wiring. And there's triggers based on, you know, how you were raised, the life experiences that you've had in the past. You're going to have a natural tendency of looking at things. And you may not be the person that's walking around with a rainbow in their hands, right? But it doesn't mean that we can't change that emotion or that energy behind our day-to-day stuff. When we practice it and, you know, make it intentional,
you have the ability to respond.
Well, our thoughts are going to get rewired. Yep. Like once that happens, the emotions follow right behind the thoughts.
How you think sets up how you feel, and how you feel sets up how you think. It's a cycle. Yep.
So if you're going through the motions, you're working, you're doing the meditation, the thing, but the belief is not necessarily there. The energy, maybe you feel like you're offset with the energy. You're like, I'm a pessimistic being, you know, whatever, right? Just understand that you have the power to come in and change that through awareness, through certain actions, through finding yourself along the way. So
that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah. With that being said,
awesome, man.
This was a good talk.
Yeah, it was.
I think we rambled for like an hour.
You know, we did. And a lot of tangents, but it's all relevant. Yeah, all necessary.
Justin, if somebody wants to get a hold of you and maybe continue the conversation, where do we go? Yeah,
man. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Mindset Coach JT, or myself, 602-348-8534.
Fire. Fam, so I hope you liked that episode as much as I did. Do us a favor, subscribe, like, and share. Send this out to somebody you think might benefit from it. It's a two-way street. I always say it, right? Drop it in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know whether you agree, you disagree. I mean, if there's something I like, is perspective, man. So yeah, it's a two-way street, right? Keep us in the combo. Hop in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay focused. You got this. Let's go.